We're holding out for a hero till the end of the night. This is Sega Masters. Our next Master System US launch title is another home conversion of an arcade game somehow squeezed onto a Sega Card. This time we're looking at My Hero, which serves as the first appearance on Sega's console of a genre that was certainly growing in popularity around the mid-1980s, the side-scrolling beat-em-up. As the game opens, our protagonist, Steven, is taking a leisurely stroll with his girl Remy when he gets ambushed by a mohawked punk named Mohican who then makes off with her. After getting over the embarrassment of somehow just letting that happen, Steven heads off to do what all beat-em-up heroes do. Get his girl back by single-handedly taking on Mohican's expansive game through 3 levels of street combat. As I mentioned, the so-called belt scrolls were becoming a rather lucrative trend in the arcade market ever since Irem's classic 1984 coin-op Kung Fu Master essentially birthed the walk forward and beat up bad guys in your way genre. So it's no surprise that Kung Fu Master's success inspired a number of successors and imitators over the following years which attempted to follow in its footsteps. Sega was no exception as they pushed out their own brawler for the arcades in 1985, My Hero, which was developed by Corland and known as Senshun Scandal in Japan. Sega's brawler followed the template Kung Fu Master established, while adding in a few unique touches of its own to the formula. Yet it didn't quite have the same impact as its predecessor on either side of the Pacific Ocean and is relatively forgotten, for good reason as it turns out. Regardless, that lack of success didn't deter Sega from translating it to their home platform, especially after seeing Nintendo securing a home port of Kung Fu Master for their console, which would go on to become something of a beloved classic. Sadly, My Hero would not fare as well, to say the least. For the most part, My Hero features very straightforward beat-em-up action where you simply march to the right through each stage, using the few basic attacks at your disposal to take out the endless waves of punks that swarm at you en masse from both sides of the screen. Your fists and feet are your only weapons, while a few of your foes throw various objects at you, including these guys looking to drop bottles on you from above. However, you can send that bottle flying towards some foes with a well-timed punch or kick. But the one thing that stands out about My Hero is its merciless difficulty level. The original arcade version was already brutally hard to play through, even for a quarter muncher, and this home version raises that difficulty even further, to sky-high levels of frustration and unfairness. You're constantly besieged from both sides with almost no chances to catch your breath, and just one touch from a baddie is all it takes to fell poor Steven. While the controls are simple and mostly responsive, your normal punches and kicks have too short of a range to be useful. It doesn't help that some iffy collision detection can pop up from time to time, making it all too easy for a thug to get in a cheap shot that costs you a life. You'll be relying almost exclusively on jump kicking your foes away, which gets repetitive before too long. If the endless swarms of clones wasn't enough, My Hero attempts to change things up by requiring some platforming in a few places throughout the level to continue your march. These obstacle courses can be just as frustrating as the combat, with you having to jump kick your way up very large steps or cross gaps filled with shooting flames, often while also contending with baddies standing in your way or dodging certain projectiles tossed your way. Should you perish, you start your next life just a few steps back, yet this can cause you to have to traverse difficult sections of the level multiple times, when just one time through was enough of a struggle. As far as the presentation goes, this home version tries to emulate the coin-up to the best of its ability, yet it's rather obvious how the Sega Card's limitations forced a number of cutbacks. While the sprites and their so-so animation are close approximations to the arcade game, the graphics are a far cry from the vibrant visuals of the coin-up. The backgrounds are rather flat and ugly and everything takes place in a rather unappealing green sky. Endure the frustration enough to make it to the end of the street, and you face Mohican himself in a one-on-one showdown on the beach, where the object is to simply inflict enough damage to knock him out before he does the same to you. At least you won't have to worry about one-hit deaths here, yet these battles can drag on for far longer than necessary since it can be a trial to actually connect with your punches and kicks. Land enough hits on Mohican to get the better of him, and you rescue your girl before the 3 of you enjoy a nice sunset on the beach together. In the arcade version, should you defeat Mohican, the same cutscene on the beach plays out when a time machine suddenly appears and your girl is snatched away by ninjas and taken to what appears to be ancient Japan, which serves as the setting for the next level in the coin-op. If that twist wasn't off the rails enough, should you defeat the ninja boss at the end of the second level, ape men suddenly appear and whisk your girl off to a Planet of the Apes style future in an even more what the heck moment. But at least the past and future levels boasted their own unique environments and background tunes, which offered some visual and audio variety to keep the action from becoming completely monotonous. Sadly, neither of these other quirky settings made it into this home version. Instead, Mohican merely sucker punches you and takes off with Remy again, and the chase begins anew. The layouts of the following 2 stages were reworked into versions mimicking the missing settings from the coin-op, but it's still the same ugly urban environment which you'll get tired of looking at in almost no time at all. Likewise, the same annoying 30-second background tune plays non-stop throughout your entire session and will have you reaching for the mute button before too long. Finally, should you defeat Mohican at the end of the 3rd level, you just play through the first stage all over again as all 3 levels cycle indefinitely. Yes, your perseverance is never rewarded with the satisfaction of saving your girl for good, which is rather demoralizing. All in all, My Hero is just not a good game in the slightest, and not just because it's a conversion of an arcade game that wasn't all that great to begin with. You can see everything this card has to offer within the first 5 minutes, since the brutal difficulty level was most likely used to compensate for the lack of content, though the monotonous, frustrating gameplay and presentation won't have you sticking with it for even that long. My Hero doesn't contain anything that isn't done better in the other beat-em-ups available on the Master System, so leave this 0 in the dust.